Welcome to MMAPlay365. I'm Newsome and I'm here for the Baze AI recap, the UFC prediction software from UFC 273 last weekend. The overall percentage was 66.6%, which is a little bit lower than where we want to be, but it's there or thereabouts. It had a good weekend of predictions, in my opinion. We're going to run through some of the individual fights that I want to really highlight and talk about. And listen, you know, the AI is never going to be 100%. It's solid. It does some really good work. It picks some absolute gems out. It's never going to be 100%. So there are going to be some fights where I disagree with it, and when we've watched the event and realised that it wasn't a great prediction. So I know I talk about the good a lot of the time. There is some bad from time to time as well, and we start with the bad. In the main event, we had Alexander Volkanovski versus the Korean Zombie. Now the AI predicted Alexander Volkanovski to win this fight at 50.21%, which odds implied is minus 101. Obviously, Volkanovski was minus 600 on the betting line. I think he pretty much nearly covered that as well. He looked phenomenal on the night. I didn't agree with that prediction. I thought it was too close. But like I said, the AI is never going to be 100%. And this is one of the fights that I definitely disagreed with, and one of the fights that I do think it was very off on. But then we go into the co-main event, and then things change a lot. Aljamain Sterling, the AI said that Sterling to win the fight was 51%, which odds implied is minus 104. Aljamain Sterling closed at around plus 350 on the betting line, so there was plenty of value there. The AI knew it was going to be a close fight, and the AI actually picked Sterling, and I believe that was based on the groundwork that he does with the wrestling and his jiu-jitsu as well. So the AI got that one absolutely spot on. It was a close fight that went to a split decision. Some people were scoring it differently, and the AI just predicted it perfectly. Sterling the winner, but in a close fight, and all the value on Aljamain Sterling on the betting line. So a perfect prediction there from Baze AI, our UFC prediction software. And then we move on to the final fight that we're going to talk about, and there's a lot to be expanded on in here. This is the gem. There's a lot of gems inside of it as well, and that was Aleksei Oleinik versus Jared Vanderaa. Aleksei Oleinik to win, Baze AI said was 59%, which odds implied is minus 144. Oleinik, he could have had it plus money. I bet him at plus 100, but he did close at around plus 110, plus 115, plus 120 in some spots. So he was an underdog, plenty of value on the money line. If you didn't want to play around with any totals or any props, then the AI had you covered with a good underdog spot. However, if you break that down and you look at what Baze AI predicted for Aleksei Oleinik to win by knockout and win by submission, you add both of those together, that was 52%, which odds imply was minus 107. But for Aleksei Oleinik to win inside the distance via KO, TKO or submission, he was actually plus 150 at the bookies. So again, plenty of value there. Obviously, like I said, minus 107 odds implied, plus 150 to bet him inside the distance. Plenty of value to be won if you did want to take it a little bit further outside of just playing the straight money line. But then we're going to take it even further. Aleksei Oleinik wins via submission was 46%, odds implied plus 115, on the betting line plus 180. So obviously we know that Aleksei Oleinik is a submission wizard. So if you didn't want any of the knockout, if you didn't want the straight money line and you wanted to take that extra risk and play the plus 180, that would have cashed for you as well. And the Baze AI was also saying there was plenty of value there if you wanted to take that route also. But then we're going to expand it just once more. I promise, just once more. Oleinik wins by submission in round one. The AI was saying was at 40%, odds implied plus 150. It was plus 350 on the money line for Oleinik to win via submission in round one. So again, if you were a degenerate and you really wanted to play that risky play, but for the high rewards, that was your shot. The Baze AI was still saying that there was plenty of value there for that to happen as well. And again, that cash. So Oleinik to win straight on the money line, Oleinik to win inside the distance, Oleinik to win via submission, and Oleinik to win via submission in round one. Plenty of value across the board. That was the gem play of the night, and that's it for the Baze AI recap for UFC 273. We'll be back next week, of course, with the recap for UFC Vegas 51, which happens this Saturday night. I'm Newsome. Thanks for listening. We'll see you again next week.